How much time are you wasting on things that don't matter, that are not producing? Being busy in frivolous things or majoring in minor things is what I like to call it. When we feel like we're really being productive, but we're not being productive, we're just being busy. Those are two different things. Being productive, which produces something, or just being busy, like dilly dallying around while our life passes us by. These are habits that start to produce like a kind of mundane routine, a life that's just kind of like you're just kind of bopping around. There's no real direction, there's no real conviction, there's no real oomph, there's no fire, there's no stirring, there's no vitality. It's just living, existing, doing, going through the motions. And part of that, I think, is we've given up on things. We feel like it's too late, we're too old, we don't know what to do, there's no direction, there's no purpose. And so we just kind of go with the flow, and then we say, well, whatever's meant to be will be. And that ends up being an excuse for actually not doing what we really could be doing. People have embraced so much slow living that when anything with effort ends up being like an enemy, or anything that is disciplinary, or you're pushing yourself, it's extreme. It seems extreme because slow living isn't, actually have a pretty slow type of life because I've gotten out of the hustle and bustle, getting out of the ways of the world, getting out of the system, if you call it, getting out of the rushed life. But I'm very productive. So, but a lot of people have adopted slow living as being no, there's nothing producing because it's too comfortable. Slow living becomes comfort. It becomes complacency. It becomes mediocre and mundane. And anything that goes up against that is like, oh no, that I don't want that. You're too aggressive. I mean, I've had people tell me all the time that it's like it's too aggressive. It's too much. It's too much energy. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's life. Like, don't you want to grow and develop? Why would you just want to? Now there's seasons for slower living. Those are pockets of time. Those are rainy days, or just slow seasons in life. But it should not be your whole life has been adopted into this really slow, leisurely kind of life, because the Bible doesn't say walk your race. It says run your race. It talks a lot about getting up. It calls laziness, you sluggard, get up. Like there's a lot that talks about this type of mindset. It's definitely not being it's not about being fast and crazy and reckless. Those are two different things. It's about moving confidently forward. It's about maximizing your time, simplifying your life. I think that's a big one. I think we're trying to do too many things, trying to accomplish too many things. We're involved in way too many things. We're saying yes to too many people. We are trying to please everybody. We're involved in drama and situations that aren't ours, other people's lives, other people's business. We're wasting time on getting, are so wrapped up in TV shows. I mean, that could take up weeks, if not months, if not years of your life, being wrapped up in something that's fake, that doesn't even exist. Again, there's a time for that. But when you replace actually doing and living and being active and actually like living life, and you replace that with things that are fake, that's not real, that's where the problem is. Your body also responds to that type of life, and you start losing muscle, you start gaining weight, you start basically absorbing that way of life, that way of living. So things have to be utilized or you lose it. You have to use those muscles. You have to use things or you end up, losing it. We don't just all of a sudden become this, decrepit person one day. We've allowed it to happen over time by what we've engaged in or what we've allowed to take place in our life. So that creates a victim mindset as well, a victim mentality instead of it's we've that's another thing is we've gotten so much in the habit of being victims instead of taking control of our own life. And I've been there. I've given so many excuses of why and this and that. And anybody who tries to confront that or present a better way. I'd be like, well, this. I go out of my way to explain why I couldn't. I remember somebody trying to get me into Financial Peace University 11 years ago, and I wrote them all these reasons why I couldn't do it. Why this and that, and why I didn't need it. Like trying to get them to agree with why I couldn't do it. And they were like, okay, well, then don't do it. If you don't want to, don't do it. And then I spent, the next 15 years or 12 years in debt. So, like, how stupid. If I would have, you look back and you think, man, if I would have just, like, been open and willing to change, I could have been so far ahead. Now, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to get going. Every day is a new day. You can create changes pretty quickly if you start today. This is the youngest you'll ever be. So starting today and getting on board with the things that are going to produce and make positive changes in your life is the first step. Not waiting for the right time, waiting for the right season, waiting for someone else. A lot of people are waiting for their spouse to get on board before they start doing what they have to do. The problem with that is you'll never start then. You wait for the other person. I had to start doing things before my husband was even willing or ready. And did it create a strife? Yeah, because one person's going in one direction and one person's like, well, I don't like that. I want to stay here. I want to live here. I don't want to move. I don't want to make these changes. I'm comfortable here. And a lot of times they'll be like, well, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with what we have? Why do we need? And I'm not talking about, well, let's upgrade our car or, let's go on a big vacation. I'm talking about developing yourself, developing the things in your life that you can say, I can make improvements in this area. Okay, how can I make improvements with my eating habits or with my exercise or with my routines, with all of these things? And what am I willing to give up? You have to be willing to give up something, like giving up what you have in order to, have what you're desiring. You have to be willing to give something up because it's the lower things that are keeping you stuck. It's the lower mindset. It's the stagnant, nothing's flowing. It's like the stagnant water. It's the things you're hoarding. You're holding on to things. You're holding on to habits because they're comfortable and it feels like a safe place for you. Comfort is an illusion. It keeps you mediocre. You have to be willing to let go of the comfort and get a little uncomfortable while you're climbing levels, or while you're changing, while you're developing. It's part of the deal. You can't think your way into a healthy body. You can think and take action. Those two things, it's a combination of the two things, like prayer and research. You can't just pray all the time while you don't do anything, and you can't just take action while you're not praying. Both of them is a powerful combination, and when you combine the two, there's a congruency in your life that will expedite things and magnetize things to you, because now you're in a clear you're in a clear flow where things can start flowing out of you and towards you. Leaving the life of mediocrity is more difficult than leaving a life of like pain. And people have embraced such a way of life that has become normal that keeps them, keeps the time passing, but they're not developing. You're going to be older anyways. A year from now is going to come anyways. 2 years from now is going to come anyways. 5 years from now is going to come anyways. Do you want to be older or do you want to be better? So it is by what you do today is developing that person a year from now. Who is she? What does she do? Or he? What are you involved in? What does your life look like? What do your relationships look like? And taking inventory of the areas that are holding you back, the bondage, the relationships that aren't going anywhere, the spending that, I'm not talking about not spending at all. I'm talking about spending on things that are worth it, things that are going to help you become a better person, things that are going to help you rise higher, not things that are going to keep you stuck. And getting out of being involved in things that are not aligning with that future purpose is key. Let me say that again. You got to get out of being involved with the things that is not aligning with that future person that you want to be, because that future person is going to come, and your kids are relying on you. Your future person's relying on you now. Your future self is relying on what you do now. So it is important to start getting serious and say, no, I'm getting my life in order. I'm getting my actions in order, my words in order, my thoughts in order. I'm getting these things in order. You have to decide who you are. Who are you? That person. Who are you? Like, are you somebody who wakes up late? Are you somebody who complains all the time? Are you somebody who spends without thinking, mindlessly eating? Are you somebody who's just going through the motions? You're stuck at the same job, you're stuck at the same home or house, you've never really lived, or who are you? And what family dynamics are you building? What family culture are you building? This is really an important question, is who am I? And who do I want to be? And what kind of life do I want to live? It's such a time of clarity, getting clear on these things and taking the time to ask yourself these questions, and then maybe write it down. Write down, what does that person look like? What does their day look like? What foods do they eat? What actions do they take? What's the habits like? How do you feel? What does your closet look like? Your wardrobe? Is your home orderly and clean? Is it cluttered? And this took me a long time. I mean, for 5 years, I probably wrote down who I wanted to be before I actually entered into that, because soul ties, and things of the past and paradigms are so strong that it almost becomes, it's very hard to break out of that. So you have to keep reminding yourself, who am I? You have to keep reminding yourself, what is my life like? What does it look like? What kind of person am I? What do I engage in? What do I say no to? What do I say yes to? And build the image of that person first, and then start walking in that image. So you build the image first. You create that image. You get it so deep down in your mind, your subconscious, that I am that person. And then you start walking in that. You start behaving like that. You start moving into action to become everything that you are declaring and believing and focusing on becoming.